the Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
We are both muted. I just realized that. What is going on every friggin' week? What is going on, everybody? I am the West Coast Professor, good old JM Jeff Meacham. Over to the left is the Renegade JJ Williams. We are the dads, not always on wrestling. JJ still has his shirt. I still haven't found mine. Don't know where the hell it is in this damn either house. I have no idea where shit is around here. But you can get your own dad's shirt over at teespring.com/Jeff Meacham Network for the records, or whatever the hell the new spring.com. There we go. Jesus Christ. I'm on the ball on a Friday. We're good to go, kids. Anyway, we are just rolling. We are live in living color, baby. But we have a great topic today that JJ suggested and I rolled with, and it's as we do nowadays. It seems like he suggests all the good stuff, and I just like, yeah, let's do it. Okay, wait. Okay, we won't do one of mine. We'll just stick with JJ's because he knows what the hell he's doing. So yes, top 10 managers of all time. Now, having said that, we are, it is JJ's idea. This was a long discussed one, probably more than either of us anticipated. And we even made a correction this morning. So that's how much this was discussed and debated. It's like, okay, yeah, we need to make right on this front. And I asked him very nicely to not give me shit about that correction, because it was me correcting something that I had suggested, or that we had agreed on. It's like, and I talked him down off the one we slid in, and it was like, yeah, my bad.
And I'm still going to give you a little bit of shit for it, Meacham, because everyone would expect me to.
Oh, yes.
I'll go more in depth into it when we get to the person on the list. But basically, I proposed to this person to be an entry, and Jeff talked me out of it.
Yeah,
then this morning,
like a dog,
he comes back to me, and he's like, okay, I in good conscience can't keep this person on the list, so I'm going to take that person out and put the one back that you wanted and I talked you out of. And I'm like, okay, I got to give you crap for this, though.
Yes.
He's like, please don't, please.
Well,
I'm like, no. I got to give you some shit. I cannot roll through life and not give you shit about this. And then, you know, Jeff also tried to talk me back into 2 separate lists when he came at me with his initial 5 and was like, who do you got for the other half of the list?
Right.
I threw my half out there, and he was like, and I'm just going to throw these names out there. They are honorable mentions. He's like,
yes.
No Mr. Fuji, no Captain Lou Albano, no Classy Freddie Blassie. And I was like, okay, in all seriousness, as great a managers as they may be,
yes,
I didn't watch them in real time. You barely watched them in real time.
Accurate.
Well, how can we legitimately sit here and wax proxy about the greatness that are these people?
Yes.
And neither one of us watched them in real time. All we know is via Memorex, you know, whether it's VHS for those people back in the days that are old like us. DVD, Blu-ray, WWE 24/7, the original network, the Peacock app now.
Yes.
That is our exposure to those people.
Yes.
So I was like, again, as great as those guys may be,
yes,
I can't sit here and talk about their greatness and leave somebody else off who
right,
I have seen in real time, who I
yes,
can talk passionately about, who I
yes,
can make a logistical case for.
yes,
And he had to concede with me because it's like, you're right.
yeah.
You're right.
And
Okay.
and to be fair, we're going to refer back to the evil triumvirate when we get later in our list, because that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler that those guys were heavily influential later.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, and yes, I'm going to go ahead, since he was nice enough to super chat this early on a Friday, we'll go ahead and address his other message. It is too early for that shit, Mansfield. No, Mansfield, it's bad. Mansfield, you stop that.
Well, Trish was definitely somebody we talked about afterwards.
Well, no, but it's the way he's addressing the whole thing.
I know. I'm just saying, Trish is someone we did seriously talk about.
We did.
Tori,
yes.
not so much, but Trish, we definitely gave some consideration to when he took the one that I was hard selling off, and we were trying to figure out somebody else to replace them with.
Yes.
Because he gave me 4 men and 1 woman.
Right. Initially, yes.
I feel like we have to try to balance the scale a little bit here. I know that women, especially in the 80s and the 90s, weren't as prophetic as their male counterparts.
Yes.
I don't want to have a freaking 9-man sausage fest and 1 chick on here.
Well, no, right.
Especially but a bunch of women who did make serious impacts in managerial roles.
Yeah. And to my credit, I didn't say one of the people on the list female wise because I knew you would. Another obvious spoiler there. But the other honorable mention that we are going to address is going to be, as of October 21st, or I don't know if we're doing the ceremony the day before or whatever it is.
I think they're
Impact
doing
Hall
it
of Fame
actually on the show.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, because different years they've done it like the night before at a little banquet. Sometimes done on the show. It's just, as usual, Impact Wrestling, they can't make up the damn minds what they want to do on a booking day. But Tracy Brooks, and she was the one that was originally going to. I'm going to go ahead and throw myself under the bus here. She was originally the number 10. That's what we're going with. And there's a reason I'm wearing her husband's shirt, because I'm gonna totally kiss both their asses right now. So let me just throw that out there now. As awesome and as much as we think of both Mr. and Mrs. Kaz, at the end of the day, the person that I talked him out of being on the list, I couldn't reconcile Tracy being there. And I only say that because Tracy, as even though she is the original Knockout, even though she contributed to a lot of the early success and development of what became this amazing Knockouts division that Impact Wrestling has now, the person we have at number 10 that JJ is going to get into just a second, at the end of the day, without her, I don't think anybody female after her would have been even in this consideration for the list, period.
Agreed.
And that's why I was like, you know what? As much as I fought against it, and I'll explain why I fought against it, number 10 belongs. But we love you, Trace. Yes. And I swear if I could be in Chicago on the 21st, I would.
And our other honorable mention, since we're going ahead and getting those out of the way now.
Yes.
The other honorable mention that I threw at Jeff when number 10 was taken off.
Yes.
The Queen of Extreme, Francine.
Absolutely.
You think about her clientele.
Yeah.
And just in the franchise Shane Douglas alone.
Yes.
And then you add on everybody else.
Yeah.
And she definitely is worthy of at least recognition, or as Roman Reigns would like to say, acknowledgement.
Yes.
On the list.
Yes. By the way, I have the final piece of my Halloween episode, or whatever we're going to call it, open mic night, to go with the Tribal Chief t-shirt that you guys have seen off and on here. I got my final piece of the puzzle, so we're ready to go for
I'm debating
Hangman,
about
brother.
resurrecting El Renegado de la Lucha Libre, but I think I'm gonna need some super chats for that. You know, if people want me to bring that back, I haven't decided on a dollar amount yet because we've still got most of the month to get there. But it's gonna have to be money brought to my channel only, not combined, but my channel only on open mic nights.
Because the appearance of El Renegado de
la Lucha Libre.
The Libre, thank you. It not only cost production time because he's got to sit there in a fucking mask and sweat his ass off for however long, but
for 4 hours generally.
For 4 hours, yeah. If he does the full show as El Renegado, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and much like one of Tracy's old clients, Robert Roode, and his acting partner, we need super chat money. So there you go.
But reeling us in now that we're 12 minutes deep into the show.
That's okay. Hey,
Number 10 on the list to officially kick it off, the woman that Jeff denied access to the list.
This is the last part of the shit, right? I'm just saying.
Miss Elizabeth.
There we go. Okay, good Lord. Look at what a vision the First Lady of Wrestling is she not? My goodness.
Now I want to hear people sound off in the chat, and this is the last part of the shit.
Okay.
And we're past the 10-minute mark. How fucked up was Meacham by talking me out of taking Elizabeth off the list?
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
I just want to see people sound off. You've already said your piece. I want to see people's response now, knowing that it was Liz that you talked off the list.
May I please explain why I did, though? Can I do that?
You may, and then I will rebuttal as to all the reasons why she deserves to be here.
Okay. The reason I advocated for others besides Liz, and I'm not saying I think any less of Miss Elizabeth, because my God, the very first Coliseum video I ever willingly purchased had her and Randy on the cover. I've still got this stupid wedding announcement refrigerator sticky thing in my files here. I still have it. But my point at the end of the day was this: as big a influence she was, and looking back, it's okay, well, we had Tracy on there, but there wouldn't have been Tracy without Liz. There wouldn't be numbers, the middle of the pack pretty much without Miss Elizabeth. Everything she ever did was either with or against one person. It all revolved around Randy. That was done by design by Randy, if we're being honest. But she came in to the WWF. She came into the business because of Randy, first of all. Came in WWF as Randy's manager. Randy lost his goddamn mind, depending on who you ask, either in reality or in storyline. She then sided solely with Hogan against Randy. Had that reunion that still, whether I was 8 years old in 1991 or in 2023 when I'm 40, makes me cry like a baby. It was Randy. She turned on Randy in 96 to go with the Horsemen and Flair against Randy. Went into the NWO because Hogan wanted to use her against Randy. Reunited with Randy and turned heel, but was still with Randy. Spent a year with Randy in the NWO, and then turned and hung out with Bischoff and made questionable lip use with Bischoff on the air because against Randy. It was only at the end in like 99, 2000 when the Wolfpack Elite became a thing, and let's just gloss over that really quick because as much as I advocate for that, no. It was only then that she wasn't directly against Randy. And that was my whole point. It's like everybody else on the list had varying clients and opponents throughout their entirety of their career. And Elizabeth was focused solely on or against Randy Savage. And yes, I understand she deserves a Hall of Fame induction. Somewhere in my Facebook archives, I've got a list of when they were originally going to have WrestleMania out here in 2021, I think it was. she was my female inductee because she deserves it, by God. And it was 30 years to the day, almost to the day of her and Randy's reunion on the air at WrestleMania in Los Angeles. So I don't disagree that she deserves a spot on the list. I just had what I felt was a very valid argument. And I clearly was invalid in my validity. So my bad, Liz.
And to your point, all those people that she managed or aligned herself with may have been in or around or in regards to Randy.
Right.
Let's just take a minute here to talk about this list, because you've got Randy himself, you've got Hogan, you've got the New World Order, you've got the Horsemen, you've got Lex. That's
Dusty,
a pretty star-studded roster of names that this lovely First Lady of Wrestling has managed.
Right.
And he wanted to pull out one of Agent J's neuralizers and just like, she's gone. And I think Jeff froze.
Am I back?
You are. There's laggy. You're laggy, but you're back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That, like, both devices went down. That was fun. Wow.
And now he's frozen again. It's going to be one of those days, folks. And I'm not on the production side to keep it moving forward. We're live, folks.
Hi, everybody. There's 3 of me now. Good stuff. And I'm echoing. Can everybody hear me at home?
Yes.
Am I still lagging like a muckerfucker?
No, not now.
Okay. Continue with this.
Is this on? I had made my point about Liz. I feel like I've given you more than enough shit about it now, so I will cease and desist.
Thank you. Well, speaking of cease and desist, number 9. Okay, so number 9 was the only one from the era before he and I really became fans that made the list.
But it's still somebody that we know because, like them or not, they are still a very prominent voice in the wrestling world.
Good old Jamesy himself, Jimmy Cornette. Okay. All right, Prince Polyester.
I'm surprised you didn't find a picture with his tennis racket.
The ones I did find blocked out one of our faces, if I'm being honest. I'm just that vain. The show is about us, not them. Goddamn it! So
it looks like he's pouting because you didn't want him originally on the list, and he just got added last minute.
Well, that's accurate, Jim. To be fair, because you crazy. But no,
crazy, deranged motherfucker.
Yes, and don't get him in a drive-through. You're gonna die. And if you run in the drive-through, run from the window. Get away quickly.
But you do want to go through the drive-through with Brian Hall. And if you know,
absolutely. If you know, you know. And if you don't, by God, educate yourself when we're off the air here. Good Lord. So yes, modern day Jimmy Cornette. It's who he is. Okay. But the character, the manager, the on-air personality prior to the advent of podcasting, the Midnight Express. Just the battles with the man we're going to talk about later within the Midnight Express little civil war, let's call it. The American spokesperson for the longest reigning WWF champion prior to Diesel of the 1990s, one Yokozuna. There's a new podcast debuting this weekend called Lex Expressed. The Lex Express doesn't get derailed without this guy, for being honest.
It's fair.
Because the SummerSlam 93 celebration of a count-out win. That's good booking, kids. was because this man put it in the contract. Owen and Bulldog, later on, the stuff with Clarence Mason and Vader, it's like we talked about the other day with Big Leon. It's like Vader in the WWF just kind of was a walking disaster area waiting to happen. Jimmy tried, he really did, but it wasn't going to happen for him. But I will fondly remember, his stuff with Yokozuna the most, I think, of his WWF career. Yes, he founded Smoky Mountain. Yes, he cultivated Ohio Valley Wrestling and really made it the WWF developmental before Tough Enough became a thing. And now we have, of course, FCW and NXT. But back then it was just OVW. And, manager-wise, influential as hell. Creative, I will say Jimmy, definitely his legacy will be OVW in its beginnings. And I think because
this man, like him or hate him, is responsible for that class of 02 that we always heap so much praise on.
Yep.
Cena, Orton, Batista, Brock, Shelton, Victoria.
Rico. Let's not forget Rico on there. So, yeah, those.
He's responsible for cultivating all of those talents.
Yep.
That are still prominent fixtures in the current landscape of professional wrestling.
Yep. And to address the chat without them super chatting, it's like, yeah, Harley had Vader, but it was in WCW. If Harley had Leon in the WWF, if Harley had been willing to go to WWF and deal with that, first of all, I think Leon's destiny would have been different. But again, even the greatness of Jim Cornette as a manager, just if you have a 6-shooter, he hit with 5. Vader was the one that just didn't connect at the end of the day. And if Vader's the only one you don't connect with, and it's not your fault, then it's not your fault.
Exactly.
Owen and Davey as a team
was never going to be the monster he was in Japan and WCW.
At the end of the day, the thing with Orndorff completely neutered Leon. Just flat out, it did. No matter what he was going to do the rest of his career, that backstage thing with Paul, with Orndorff being so respected, just derailed everything Vader was ever going to do ever again. And that's not Jimmy Cornette's fault. But Owen and Davey as a team, founding Smoky Mountain and having that be what it was for the brief time it was, the original Midnight Express, the new Midnight Express, and like I said, Yoko as WWF champion. Just that's his WWE legacy. And that's why if they ever decide to give him a live mic again, he should be inducted himself rather than inducting the Rock and Roll Express, which was so weird, by the way. Speaking of guys that probably shouldn't have a live mic all the time.
So our number 8 is getting the nod based primarily on his current accolades.
Yes.
But longtime fans may remember him managing the Truth Commission in the WWF. And you threw it up before I could really give all his accolades.
Sorry.
So, botch!
It's okay. Well, there we go. Anyway.
People may remember him managing Hell's Henchmen, who became the Acolytes. They remember Cyrus the Virus. And then now, of course, Don Callis, Kenneth by Goddeth Omegeth. And now God. The Callis family.
Yes, the war against Kenneth Omegeth. 40.
And I went the Foley route with this image because I wanted to capture the 3 eras of his career. You've got the Jackal.
Yes.
There next to Jeff, you've got Cyrus. And in the middle, you've got modern day Callis.
Yes. Okay. If we're gonna expand this guy, we need to be able to be seen. So
Thank you. I was gonna say you can be taking them down after we talk about him for a little bit.
Well, I put him in the middle so we could, so we could talk about him. But Don being the faces of Foley is like, okay, well, we can't work with that one.
But Don is somebody that I kind of had to fight for because Jeff really was just focused on the AEW era, if you will, Don Callis, the Kenny Omega, to a lesser extent, the Elite, and now the Callis family.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, but he was essentially what got the wheels rolling for the Ministry of Darkness.
Absolutely.
He brought Farouk and Bradshaw together to form the Acolytes. And then once they got abducted by the Undertaker to be turned into the Ministry, he kind of disappeared and popped up as Cyrus.
Right.
Long-term booking, he was one of the originals that was supposed to be the higher power because
Right?
he's the one that got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about that or forget that. So if he had been able to come back and we hadn't had that bullshit McMahon reveal, and it had been the Jackal pulling the strings all along, what if?
Yeah.
And then you think about the Truth Commission and how dominant they were in their short life as a faction.
Yeah.
Before Kurgan went and became a freaking goofball in the oddities. Wearing like a 1920s football helmet that looked like a condom on his head.
Right.
But I don't think Don and his legacy, especially going back to 97 until now, can be shortchanged. And then again, you think about everything that he's done with Kenneth by Goddeth Omegeth. Yeah. And that in of itself deserves a spot on the list.
No, I agree. Because, Kenny, prior to New Japan and hooking up with Don there, and, it was mentioned, Don's commentary in New Japan alone is worth talking about because goodness gracious. But yeah, it was that hooking up with Don and then kind of filtering down into the Elite. Again, whatever we think of the Elite, and we'll save that for open mic night discussions. Because Lord Almighty, do we talk about those assholes on Saturdays?
I'm just glad I was wrong about this week's Dynamite.
Right. Good Lord. No, Josh, he doesn't suck. He's a piece of shit. Don's a piece of shit. Tony Schiavone even says so.
You cannot say somebody sucks when they are that successful.
No.
I'm sorry. I understand if people have personal issues towards people.
Yes.
Because God knows I've got personal issues against two guys from Rancho Cucamonga. Okay? But at the end of the day, you cannot hate on the facts. Dare I say, Kenny Omega would not be Kenneth by Goddeth Omegeth without Don fucking Callis.
Absolutely not.
That's
not even close.
Yeah, that's the tweet. The Kenny Omega that we know today would not exist without Don Callis. Period.
Clip that, James. There we go. Yeah, clip that, James. There you go. That's because that's the one you clip out because it's true. And you mentioned the higher power thing. As meme worthy as the McMahon reveal has become, and God knows that's a great bit of comedy. It wasn't supposed to be.
No, it was supposed to be serious.
Yeah, and we get it that they were in the midst of a. God damn it.
You were saying?
I don't. What the hell was I saying?
They were in the midst of a horrible.
Scramble after what happened at the pay-per-view the week before McMahon revealed himself to Austin. It's like, there's unfortunately, night of, and there's no right answer. It's just the answer they chose just became more of a haha than a serious thing. And I think if they'd gone with Don, I think it would have been a much different impact. But again, it's so much decision making.
And can we think about the dichotomy for a moment of having the Jackal and Paul Bearer in the same faction?
Ooh.
And to a lesser extent, and to a lesser extent, Gangrel, who at that point was more so managing Edge and Christian and not as featured prominently in matches.
True.
So you would have had essentially 3 managers in the Ministry of Darkness.
Yep.
All of them who like to dabble in evil and darkness.
Yeah.
Like that would have made it that much better, I think.
Figure if the Brood stays in the Ministry, you've got Dave. God, listen to me. Gangrel walking out with Edge and Christian. You've got Jackal walking out with the Acolytes. You've got
and probably
Paul,
Midian and Viscera, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I'll concede that. And then Paul walking out with Undertaker. Don't bring the corporation into it, because that was just even worse. I think they could, and again, this is how many years later, our armchair quarterbacking, but it's valid. Don Callis was the straw that stirred the drink even then, and instead they threw in one of those nasty ass California straws and had Vince do it. Anyway, we've criticized the old man enough, at least for this moment, anyway.
Hey, you know what? I'm curious to know people's thoughts, though. Sound off in the comments, please.
Yes.
And Josh, don't just super chat to one channel. Share the love.
Calling you out on the air again, Mucker.
Donate to dictate, right, Walter? Hashtag
That's right.
stealing your shtick.
That's right. That's
Instead
right.
of hashtag stick to my shtick. Hashtag
Yes.
stealing your shtick.
Yeah. Utilizing your shtick to benefit everybody. Anyway. All right. So number 7. Damn, that's messed up. Number 7 is one that was one of the ones I originally sent. One of my 5 that I originally sent over, and
it was the only woman he sent over.
And God damn, can we just not have that bus continually run me the fuck over this morning? Jesus. I admit, okay, hang on. I am sorry. I am sorry to your family. I am sorry to Randy's memory. Lord, I apologize. Golly, gee willikers.
You with the pygmies down there in New Guinea, amen.
Nah, fuck them pygmies right now. I'm worried about Liz. And send your hate tweets to _ Jeff Meacham for the pygmies in New Guinea. If you get access to it, tweet the hate to me. Anyway, so number 8, our number 7 has a star because it was Cape Raiders number 8. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up right now. The sensational one herself, Sherry Martel. Now, this was one of the ones that was only debated because the majority of Sherry's managerial career was prior. Actually, I think all of it was before JJ became a full-time fan. Because I think by '98 Sherry was, I think by '98 Sherry was not even on television at that point. I don't think.
Yeah. Put it to you this way, with the exception of the Randy saga in WWF,
right?
And standing there in the background when Booker T dropped the N-word in a WCW promo.
Yeah.
I can't think of much else that Sherry did managerial-wise. And when that's the longest lasting impression you have of her, is being the one who there to Booker T, because he said that he was
coming for Hulk Hogan on live pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was critical of WCW because I thought that was on Saturday night. Like, how did they leave it? I didn't realize it was Spring Stampede. Because they were in the match for a fatal 4-way for a world title shot. So he was coming for Hogan because Hogan was the world champion.
I just hope that is unedited on the Peacock app, because I want to go
not.
back and
It's
watch
not.
that now.
It's not.
Damn it.
No. Peacock jumped on that one instantly. Oh, Lordy. And yes, Josh is now super chatting JJ's channel. So there you go. There's that. Because it's going to be talking about JJ's favorite people. So there you go. And mine. Okay. So yes, Sherry Martel. First of all, amazing wrestler in her day when she was wrestling. And yeah, there you go. She was a phenomenal wrestler going back to AWA, and she came into the WWF as the AWA, as the undefeated at the time. She was the unbeaten AWA champion. And then, when they started to kind of phase the wrestling part of the women's side of things out of the WWF, she got with Randy, and eventually became his sensational queen to his macho king. And when her and Randy split during WrestleMania 7, because it was the career match with the Warrior, she immediately went to Ted DiBiase, who her and DiBiase were such a great pair. But I think most of our audience, is a little bit younger than the days of her being sensational queen, Sherry. So they probably remember her being the manager of the freshly healed, and I say heal with EEL, not H, and like healed up from an injury, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the boy toy. She sang his theme originally. And then she did a WCW after that, a couple years later, managing the Nature Boy. And then Harlem Heat, Sister Sherry. And that's where we get the infamous thing at Spring Stampede. So there you go. I'd call a little more in a cup of coffee, because she was with him from early 92 until just before Saturday's Main Event in October, I think is when that was taped. It was there in November, but I think the incident with the Mir and Marty was October on television. So, the majority 1992. And it was really cool to see Sherry have that long of a, for lack of a better term, long of a shelf life. So it was cool to have her be around as long as she was. I was trying to read what else was here. So, but for me, it was always Scary Sherry, because when I started watching in October of 1990, she was still with the Macho King as a sensational queen, and she was just this. Sherry was and remained a force of nature. She really did. She was somebody that you just did not mess with. She was scary. She was a former wrestler, so she could handle her shit in the ring, if you will. And then I do, when she did turn, well, she got turned on. Okay, she got betrayed, because Shawn Michaels isn't around. He was her boy toy. When she was betrayed by Shawn with the mirror, getting the mirror in her face, smashed over her, and briefly, and I mean it was briefly, turned babyface in 1993, and was feuding basically with Shawn. But because Shawn brought backup in, it was Luna Vachon, who Sherry was feuding with. It really didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. And I think at that point Sherry's wrestling career had been over for so long that it almost didn't connect with the audience. I know, like I said, I know she was in WCW. She was also in ECW. People forget she was in ECW. She was the original female manager of the franchise. Shane Douglas, before Nancy Benoit, woman, was a manager in ECW. I think before Nancy. Nancy may have been with Kevin at that point. I don't remember. Before Francine was with the Pitbulls, and before when she was with Shane, before Beulah McGillicuddy and Kimono Wanalea were brought in with the whole Dreamer Raven dynamic, Sherry was in ECW. So Sherry had a long shelf life. And of course, she was brought back during the feud with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, and did the whole sexy Kurt thing, which I thought was just stellar. Sherry still looked good when she came back in 2005. I'm not going to lie. She briefly, and I mean, I think she appeared once on TNA television. She was part of the attempted recruitment of one Robert Roode, very much akin to when Randy Savage first came into the WWF, and there was this managerial bidding war, or managerial war about who was going to be Randy Savage's manager. It turned out to be Elizabeth. We talked about that earlier. Sherry was one of the managers in the limo. You had Sherry, you had Bobby Heenan, I believe you had Jimmy Hart did that, I believe, at one point. I'm pretty sure Slick. God, I was trying to remember who all was competing for Robert Roode's on their client list before he ended up going with Tracy. And like I said, I know Sherry was in the limo at one point. I know Bobby was. I know there's so many, but Sherry was around pretty much right up until she passed away. And it just, all in the comments, just a living legend. And yeah, Sherry did not have a single miss as a client.
No.
Everybody that had that Sherry dust sprinkle on them just, and that's what Sherry's and yes, the face paint, scary Sherry, part of the gimmick, for being honest. It was great. But
maybe it's just me and maybe I'm outing myself, but there's something about that I kind of thought was sexy.
Yeah,
but
Sherry
then again,
you
look at some of the other women I get into, and it's just like, okay, well,
Yeah. But Sherry made the screeching, obnoxious banshee at ringside. It's like, yeah, but she's still hot though. you always have that battle within yourself. It's like, I want to hate her, but she's still hot. Like, damn. Like,
yes.
All right, now
I was going to say, before we get into the next one, I do have something I need to vent off my chest real quick.
All right.
Unwrestling related, completely not on topic.
Okay.
So just give me this, y'all in the chat room. So the reason I had to ask you to stall for a little bit, I just received a phone call from my woman.
Oh.
She's on her way home. She's under the weather.
Oh.
This is all because her fucking boss won't let people call out sick when they're fucking sick.
Oh.
And she's been forced to work around somebody for the better part of a week who was coughing and hacking up a lung.
Mm.
She now has to miss out on a girls' weekend that was planned with my daughter's mother and her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this fucking bullshit.
Yep.
She literally called me in tears.
Yep.
That she's coming home and has to miss this.
Because she can't be around grandma at all. Not like that. Nope.
No. So, to any people watching us that are managers in a position, and I'm not talking about wrestling managers, I'm talking about legitimate at-work office managers. Let your fucking employees go home or call out if they're sick.
Please.
So shit like this doesn't happen and fuck up the rest of your office.
Yeah. Or their weekend outside of the office.
Yeah, because my woman does so much for myself and all the kids in this house. She does nothing for herself. She was looking forward to needing this weekend.
Yep.
And it's now been taken from her.
Yep.
Okay.
And to comment in the chat room, Josh, don't worry about scared or being afraid, but to the manager, you should be. You should be.
Right.
Hi, Big G. How are you?
Yes.
Good to see you, brother. All right. Now.
Okay. Go. What were you going to say something?
I was going to say number 6 is all JJ because while he and I both love this woman, yes. against the current popularity of her or not, I will forever have an affection for this woman, and I definitely want JJ to.
Well, you've already taken half my introduction. You want to keep going?
No, I was going to let you do the. Like I said, I want you to give her just due, her proper introduction. So,
number 6 on the list is the female that Jeff left out, knowing that I was going to have her. And yes, to his point, she may not be the most popular person in professional wrestling right now, and is, if the state of Florida gets their way, facing up to 26 years in prison for her recent actions. But the lovely Sunny. The first person to manage 3 consecutive teams to the tag team championships.
Yep.
Not manage somebody, they lose them, And then the people that beat that team, she's managing, and they lose them. And she literally boom, boom, boom. She turned on team 1 to help team 2 win the titles. Turned on team 2 to help team 3 win the titles. A feat that was only duplicated by a male who will be coming up later in the list when it comes to world titles.
Yeah.
But say what you will about her personal life, you cannot deny the greatness of Sunny Tamaralyn Sitch when it comes to being a managerial figure.
Absolutely not.
Specifically in WWF,
yes,
but also WCW and ECW.
Yes. And under the auspices of ECW, the NWA, because she managed Chris Candido to the NWA championship in a time where the NWA was in desperate need of some credibility after Shane Douglas threw that belt down in the middle of the ECW arena. You know, it was Chris and Tammy. It was a brief reign because Dan the Beast Severn came into Chris's life in the March of '95, unfortunately for Chris and Tammy. But yeah, again, personal life discussion notwithstanding, like we talked about.
Yeah, and Josh, can we leave the nasty naughty out of the room, please, when it comes to her private life?
Josh, you don't always have to be on in the chat room. You're not Ken. You're not who else the other day? Anyway,
Real Wyatt.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just agree with the conversation. Anyway,
and you just heard me go off. Do you really want me to target that venom towards you?
Yeah. Seriously, JJ's already in a foul mood as it is, and he was foul mood going in. If we're being honest. Anyway, sunny days.
Everybody knows my personal history with Tammy.
Everybody
knows that despite what happens when her sentencing comes, there will never be an ill word about her to come out of my mouth.
Nor mine, honestly. So
I hold her as a female much in the same way that I hold someone who you don't like, Joey Ryan, in the same light as a male, because both of them have never done wrong by me.
Right.
And
absolutely,
this one more so.
Yeah.
Definitely there for me when I needed her the most.
Yeah. And again, I've always been the philosophy of I do right by those who do right by me, which is why I held out so long before I went, you know what, Punk, I'm done defending your ass. Because it's because he was good with Dad. So, but with Sunny, again, you mentioned it. Not only managing 3 consecutive WWF Tag Team Champions, not even Captain Lou did that. And he was the tag team manager of tag team managers. Captain Lou never did that. Nobody did that in tag team wrestling, period. Of course, managing, Chris as Skip before that, bringing Ron Simmons into the WWF. Yes, it was Farouk. Yes, he wore a stupid blue suit, but it is what it is. She was his manager. Managing the revitalized, however briefly, Legion of Doom, and that could have been so much better if pretty much the entire group wasn't messed up in some way or another. But the initial outing was so cool. The music and the
WrestleMania 14 entrance will live on in infamy.
Yeah. And WrestleMania 14.
I have a question to the chat room.
Yes.
I know you know this, so don't go speaking on it.
Okay.
But can anybody in the chat room name the 3 consecutive teams that she took to the titles?
And rattle it off now. Don't Google it. Don't be cheating. I said don't be chicken. You know. But yeah, managing Chris and Primetime Brian Lee in Smoky Mountain, managing Chris and Primetime Brian Lee along with Shane Douglas and the Triple Threat in ECW. Mm-hmm. Having Chris and Lance Storm battle over her in ECW before Dawn Marie came in as Tamara Lynn Bitch, which was so silly. Looking back, it's like, oh, geez. Hey, we have a winner. In that order, too.
Yep.
Now, with all respect to Dennis Knight, God bless Dennis Knight. We love that man on this show. Phineas Godwin was just a freaking puppet for Sonny. Because the Godwins managed to beat the Body Donnas, but Sonny was done with Skip and Zip at that point. And quite frankly, I think Zip was done with being Zip too, because Tom Pritchard's like, that's enough of this bullshit. For being honest. But I think it was like a week? Because I think the Godwins won the night of the curtain call, and then the Smoking Guns won it like at the pay-per-view a week later, the Beware of Dog part, whatever the hell part it was of that show.
Something like that.
But yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice if the Road Warriors had been tag team champions with Sonny. It just didn't happen. JBL and Billy, dude, Bradshaw, that's a hell of a team. It didn't happen, but I'd love to see it be booked. Hell, Billy Gunn's in better shape now than he was when Sonny was managing him. Shit, put him in the ring with Bradshaw. See what happens. God damn. I love you, Josh. I really do. yeah, but it needs to be JBL and Billy Gunn, not Bradshaw. Just because of why is JBL with badass Billy Gunn? Because we booked it and it's silly. That's why, by God.
Sounds like something Tony Khan would book. But I digressed.
Yeah. We're getting sued for sure now. It's okay. That's all right. If we were getting sued for last week by now, we sure as hell are now. That's okay. All right, we need to get to number 5 in a hurry before we get any worse.
Go for it. Number 5 is yours.
Number 5 is mine. And he was brought up a couple times in the chat room. I don't see where it all was, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw it up there. But I will always have a personal affection for this guy, even with conversations of recent memory that weren't always so pleasant. Because one of my earliest memories is one of his clients killing an animal live on the air. Because it was the Jimmy Hart managed earthquake that squashed Damien in the bag with the earthquake splash. Talk about an impact on an 8-year-old kid, right? But yeah, the Mouth of the South, surefire Hall of Famer. And, you know, which is why he's in the Hall of Fame, more than one Hall of Fame. But yeah, just going back, even before the WWF, even before JJ and I became fans, hell, before I was even born. JJ, I can't do that for you, brother. Sorry, I love you. Andy Kaufman. He was backing Andy Kaufman in the feud with Jerry Lawler. Let's just do that. And yes, the man doesn't age. I hate him for it, for the record. He looks
He's
like
a vampire.
this now. This is like his 80s promo photo. He looks like this now. God damn him.
He's a vampire.
He is. He's straight up vampire. He has to be. There's a really bad blood-sucking joke. I'm just going to let you. Brother. I'm going to hell. That's okay. I don't care. I can't interview Hogan anyway. Chris Van Vliet can interview Hogan, but I can't. So there you go. Anyway. What do you call it? Andy Kaufman in Memphis. Everybody in Memphis, if we're being, including Jerry Lawler when he wasn't feuding with Jerry Lawler. But then he comes to New York. Big John Studd briefly. King Kong Bundy. The Hart Foundation. The Nasty Boys.
Honky Tonk Man.
Rhythm and Blues. Yeah, Honky Tonk. The Hammer. The Fabulous Rougeau Brothers with the catchiest damn theme song this side of Real American, brother, that we still sing on No DQ broadcast to this day because we are in fact all American boys. By God. Earthquake. The heel turned the tugboat into Typhoon. Money Incorporated. DiBiase and Rotunda, man. And then of course, Hulk Hogan. But lest we forget Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake. Let's not forget the man Jim too.
Do we have to?
I'm sure Jimmy wants to forget. Because yeah. But then WCW.
Okay.
Oh.
Here we go.
I see the wheels turn. Here we go.
Who was the most useless?
Drafting me. Okay, wait. Say it again.
Beefcake or Roma?
Oh, you're a dick. You wrong for that. Okay. I still got to go with Paul. And I say that only because, well, again, I can't not show the Hogan bias there, unfortunately. That's just the way it is.
Would Brutus be anywhere if he wasn't riding the sack of the red and yellow.
No. But even before he was doing it on screen, Brutus was tag team champion with the Hammer. Had a banger of a match at WrestleMania 2 with the Bulldogs. You know,
Roma was tag champ with Arn Anderson.
During the Horseman era is the problem with that. If Rome had been tag team champion with Hercules in the WWF, or with Jim Powers in the WWF, or with everybody else that tried to do something with him with fucking the WWF in the first place, okay. Roma couldn't get over by himself. Brutus sure as shit did. If somebody in the
biggest thing I can think of that Brutus did by himself was provide the barbershop window for Marty Jannetty to jump through.
That coward.
That's the biggest thing that Brutus did by himself.
Okay, for you, I agree with that. And then they repaired the barbershop, and like whatever it was, a week or two later, freaking Sid destroyed the place. Looked like a freaking cocaine. They had like a cocaine incident all over his face after that. So you know.
And can we put Mansfield on timeout for asking who Paul Roma is? Like, for real, Josh. Do your homework.
I think he's saying it in jest.
I don't think so, because he's a young boy.
Yeah, it's Paul Roma. First of all, and I'll tell you what, Josh. Hang on. We're gonna do this, by God. Hang on.
And G, just for clarification, this is a joint list.
Yes.
So it's not like it's Jeff's number 5, my number 6.
Right.
We had production meeting and everything. I love me some Jimmy Hart too, but because we're doing a joint list, Jeff is covering the odds, I'm covering the evens. And Jeff even just put in the chat room, no, I legit have no clue.
Hang on. I was prepared for the ignorance of the room, so forgive me. What the hell is this DVD? All right, well, fuck it, whatever. There you go. No DVD. I'm gonna make Josh read. Joshua, find this. Order it. Read it. Then you will know who Paul Roma is, by God.
Read a book. Read a fucking book. Even Daniel says, Josh, please do your homework, young boy.
Yeah. So, very briefly, since he has nothing to do with the topic for the day, Paul Roma, as Triple H so eloquently put it in the Horseman DVD, the job guide? Yes.
Paul Roma was a jobber in the WWF for the most part who got to get transferred over to World Championship Wrestling and was inserted in the greatest wrestling faction, arguably of all time, the Four Horsemen, and became a tag team champion with AA Arn Anderson.
Now, if Josh would go back and watch a show we did specifically about the Horsemen,
and Roma wasn't even in the worst version.
Sorry, Michael Hayes, we love you, but goddamn. Anyway, so no, that's why I say even then.
Damn, Daniel with a hot take, but he's not.
You know what? Wrong. He I don't think he's out of line in saying this.
But let's not save Josh some reading, because if he expects to be considered a wrestling journalist, writing articles for wrestling websites,
that's right.
He needs to do his homework and watch Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen DVD, get himself that book and read it cover to cover. He needs to do his homework if he's expected to be taken seriously and not be taken as Mr. Hot Take who wrote an article to troll people. Right? Yes. Hulk Hogan has done nothing for the wrestling business, author?
Brother. Okay. Now, to answer the question, to answer the question, even with all of Brutus's so far up Hogan's bootay that he could probably have kissed Hogan's wife at the ceremony before Hogan did, for being honest, Roma's still more useless. All right. Now,
I have a
Now we
question
focus
for
completely
you.
away from Jimmy Hart.
I have a question for you before we get moving on.
Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest that I take the lead on 4 and 3 because I feel like you can wax a lot more proxy on 2 and 1. Not that I can't on 1, but I know your love for number 2.
Yes.
And number 2 would be an even.
Yeah.
So that's why let me take 4-3 and you can take 2-1.
As long as I get to have my legitimate long say on 3, I'm good with it.
Oh, absolutely. Just let me be the guy to usher it in.
Yes.
Say my 2 cents, and then you can take over.
Yes. Very good. I will concede that because number 4,
especially since number 4 and number 3, I wanted to have in reversed order.
Yes, you did. That's fair.
So I feel like I can discuss that a little bit by talking about both these people.
This is fair.
I wanted to have number 4 as number 3 and number 3 as number 4, but Jeff convinced me otherwise. And although I may still question his motivation and his debate on it, it was a little bit easier for me to concede than the person that he completely left off the list and then added back this morning.
I quit. I just do. Go ahead. God damn it. And also, to be fair,
but let's be honest, I did concede this one easier than I did that one. So
and I feel there's a very like ridiculous freaking superficial reason for having number 4 be number 4,
and that is J.J. Dillon. Obviously, manager of the Horsemen. I mean, I felt he should be higher because number 1 and number 2 were going to be number 1 and number 2. I told Jeff when we went into the list, these 2 had to be number 1 and number 2. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. If we're being real, it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah. But JJ, I felt, deserved the number 3 spot initially because he was a manager in the truest sense of the word.
Oh, yeah.
He was the rudder that kept the ship straight when it came to those 4 yahoos.
Because they were going to
he would do the driving. He would book the flights. He would book the hotels. He would make sure that everything ran smoothly when it came to Ole, Arn, Tully, and Nate.
Especially
and then, of course, Barry when he came in, and Lex when he came in.
Yes. Yes.
And I will, another reason why I wanted to put JJ at number 3, because I will never forget the JJ reaction to Lex cutting his promo. That's very reminiscent of the Rocky Maivia reaction when Farouk is going off on his promo, and he just does the whole like rolls the eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, dude, do you even realize that you've already signed the contract,
right,
to have your ass beat and removed from the faction? Like, you
right.
do not get how screwed royally you already are.
Yeah. 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 JJ's just like glare up at Lex, and Lex is talking about, I need to fulfill my destiny. JJ's like, the hell you said?
And again, Mansfield, going back to the whole Roma shtick, that's why you need to read that book and watch the Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen DVD. That way you can see how important he was. You can see him in action. You can see every bit of the intricacies that Dillon brought to the group.
Yes. This segment that Kate Bear talks about was highlighted in the Horseman DVD. It was so good.
Yep. The entire segment, pretty much.
Yeah. It was broken up with JJ and Nate talking about it, but yeah, it's rugged Ronnie Garvin and drag. I'm just going to let that go.
But I mean, JJ Dillon, again, he was as much of a manager as you could get in a wrestling manager.
Absolutely. He took care of his kids. And I would agree with. Oh God, you don't want me assigned you homework as a former teacher, Joshua. Jesus.
Just find the DVD, young boy. Go to Amazon and order it.
Seriously, I'll order it for you. And part of my pay off that damn bet. Good Lord.
There's gonna be matches on the DVD that you can watch in addition to watching the bio.
Yes, you can't watch the bio on Peacock.
No,
because it contains
arguably the greatest bio DVD they did in that era that was not called The Rise and Fall of ECW.
But it'll never make it because it has a banned person in it.
The DVD came out about 3 months before that incident happened.
Yeah. If you manage to get your hands on that DVD, put it in the shrine somewhere, lock it in a safe, put a freaking guard dog in front of it.
Like I said, you can find it on eBay, you can find it on Amazon.
Yes.
You just won't find it in Walmart, Target, any of those type of places. Best Buy. Yes. Primarily because they don't carry DVDs and Blu-rays anymore, but that's a whole
that's a whole other show topic. And yes, I am aware where we're going to pay off the bet, Josh. We talked about this. So I'm just going to work on it. Anyway, number 3, again, JJ will have and again, I'll briefly, again, JJ Dillon, I did argue with, much like I argued about Liz. Well, it was only the Horseman. And it's like, well, yeah, but it was the Horseman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, okay. That's fair. Because, it's.
And he was a respected figure enough that Vince knew to steal him away from Crockett.
Yes. It's funny. One of the comments on that DVD, when you buy it, Josh, I'll go ahead and spoil this little comment for you. Arn talked about, look around the company one day, and Arn and Tully were there, and Barry had come back to WWF, and JJ was there. So, looks like the Horseman over in my company. Because only Flair and let's see, the time the Horseman broke up, only Flair hadn't come back.
Yeah.
Hadn't gone over. Yeah. There you go. All right. Number 3 is very personal for both of us, but JJ has requested to start, so I will concede.
So number 3 on our list, the man that I wanted to have at number 4, at the end of the day, is really only a prominent figure in 3 WWF people's career. Yes, he's managed quite a few other people, one of whom has got everybody saying his name.
Yeah.
L.A. Knight. Yeah. But he's best known for his time with Mankind, Kane, and The Undertaker. Uncle Paul, Percy Pringle. And again, you can list off the other people that he has touched in his career. You want to talk about his final charges. One of them is in AEW.
Yep.
One of them is in WWE.
Yep.
You've got Brian Cage in AEW.
Yep.
And again, you've got Mr. L.A. Knight. Yeah. Who is going to be teaming with, as WWE calls him, the GOAT tomorrow at Fastlane. And what some people in the No DQ galaxy consider a house show match. But those people are just considered the Jobber Squad.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That's right.
But Paul Bearer, Percy Pringle, he to me was always one of those untouchable entities.
Yes.
Until he came to Southern California.
Yep.
Part of NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And we were able to get close to him. We were able to talk to him. We were able to physically touch him.
I'm working on the pictures, so go ahead and keep going.
I'm going to take one of the things I know you're going to talk about really quickly, Jeff, but we got so close to him that when he came out to the ring one time, he allowed Dylan to touch the urn.
I'll always remember that.
We got to Percy. That's how close we got to Bill Moody.
Bill Moody, yeah.
Is that he allowed Dylan to touch the urn. As Jeff is here trying to hold tears back as I say
I'm trying. You're not making it easy, Buckerfeather.
But again, you want to talk about the legacy he leaves. His last charge, because Natural Selection broke up in Championship Wrestling, Cage and Ricker.
Yeah.
Ricker, of course, being LA Knight now.
Yeah.
But they broke up, and when they broke up, Percy stayed with Ricker. And Ricker, who would become Eli Drake, who would become LA Knight, who would become Max Dupree, going back to LA Knight, is going to be in the main event of Fastlane tomorrow, teaming up with John Cena.
And what really got me
is everything you need to say about this man's eye for talent. And
what
now
got
I'm going
me,
to tag to you, Jeff. Go ahead.
What got me on the booking of that match was Corey Graves' commentary. A match book in Wrestle Heaven. It's like, yeah, Percy booked it from up there. He made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
All
of that is what made that moment going into the Rumble so special for us. When LA Knight was about to face Bray Wyatt and got to have a moment in the ring with The Undertaker, his most famous client.
Yes.
You know damn well that Bill told Mark about Sean.
Oh, yeah. Look at this goofy ass shit. Full on Percy Pringle costume, but sitting there doing the kissy face. JJ's not smiling, he's laughing.
I was trying to smile for my picture.
Well, yeah.
But the dude goes and starts making kissy faces at me. It's like, God damn you, Percy.
Damn it, Percy, right? It's like, damn it. Okay, I can't find a really good one of just the moment, so I'm going to go with a collage I put together earlier this year after the moment I had, because Josh mentioned it in the chat too. All right. Oh, God. I need to hold together. We have 2 more people to go here. Christ. Yeah, that moment at ringside. And keep in mind, when I did this, when I found out this had happened, I didn't know it happened because I was late. God damn, I can't even talk. I'm so emotional. I need to put this thing down. So it's heavy. It's real earn. Got to go on deal late and didn't find out that it happened until after the fact, but after Percy died. But man, Dylan got to hold one of Percy's legendary urns, and that picture showing that collage of Percy handing the urn to Dylan and then the 3 of us backstage made the Undertaker pop and react when Dad and I met him this year. It's like, that's the story, right? Just so amazing.
And if you look at him there in his Hawaiian shirt next to Jeff, you could see how much weight Paul had lost.
Yeah.
He was looking good then.
He was.
And then he got big again.
Yeah.
He got his untimely demise.
Yeah.
But like, he was looking good there for a bit.
Yeah. Even 10 years later, this is one of the ones that hurts the most. I'm not going to lie that he's gone. But I just,
because as close as we were getting to Bill, and as much access as we were given by Dave Marquez to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, you've got to figure that an interview was coming with Percy for the original Casa channel.
I was trying. I was trying so hard. It just schedules just didn't.
Never was able to click.
Yep.
But can y'all imagine how big the Casa could have gotten if we had been able to score a Paul Bearer interview back in 2010, 2011?
Yes. Just, oh. All right. Well, I would say that'd be the emotional part of the conversation, but not quite yet.
So that's why I wanted to talk about those, because number 2, and Jeff gets into that, is going to be another emotional one for him.
No, well, all right. So there's still some of you out there in the multiverse, if you will, since we're calling it that nowadays, that remember my beginnings, working with New DQ, the mayhem.com shit, back at the time. And the show was struggling. Extreme Mayhem was doing well. We had a few, early, we had Dan Severn, we had Shane Douglas, we had a few cool conversations with people to talk to. We had Joey Chaos as GQ Money's first interview after they left XPW. I mean, that was a neat thing. But it wasn't until this man consented for an interview that we took off. Bobby the Brain Heenan. For my money, because it was the title he used, which is why he's 1B. And we'll get to 1A here if you haven't figured it out by now. No freaking kidding. The greatest manager of all time. He will always be the greatest manager of all time for me. And by the time I really came into my fandom, he was starting to transition out already. He was in the commentary booth pretty much full time a year later. But just think about don't even talk about the AWA, managing Bachwinkle, managing Ray Stevens, managing all the people he met, just in my fandom alone. When I came in as a fan, managing the perfect Intercontinental Champion, managing the Barbarian, managing Haku, who to this day I don't fuck with Haku. That man crazy.
Haku's family don't fuck with Haku.
No, they know better, and they're trying to get us all learned. Within a year of me being a fan, he's bringing the big gold belt on the television. And bringing Ric Flair to the WWF, which was never going to be a thing. And all of a sudden, oh shit, it's happening. And Bobby's there and Perfect's there with him. The real world's champion. That's right. And then again,
Bobby getting to hold that belt on the air like 3 years before going to WCW.
Right? Freaking the WCW finally gets the belt back, and it's like, okay, here, you can have Bobby as collateral for taking care of it. Okay. Along with Gene Mean. And then, of course, Hogan. Yeah, it just, unfortunately, in our respective fandom, you and I, JJ, Bobby will be the greatest color commentator, probably, that we ever saw, at different phases. But Bobby, Arn Anderson, I think, said it best. I think people have kind of like expanded on that and kind of agreed. Bobby was the best all-around performer in the history of the business. He could wrestle like a manager and pull it off. He could manage like a wrestler and pull it off seamlessly. He could commentate like a personality in the ring. And he could be at ringside and drive the other commentators crazy with doing the shenanigans for his clients. I think for my money, as silly and as maybe a hot take it's going to be, even now, all these years after he's been gone, all these years after he's been out of the ring and retired, I think that Bobby is the best all-around performer in the history of the business, because not only did he do what he did well, but what he wasn't most known for, he still did fabulously. I think Bobby is as complete a package you're going to get without looking the part, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But, and that's a big but. We'll talk about our big but, Simone. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, please educate yourselves and go watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you freaking idiots. Golly. Watch the movie,
but if
folks.
Bobby Heenan isn't number one flat, who is better than Heenan?
It's only because this man exists.
And I know this could be a hot take to a lot of people in the chat room.
Yep.
Why Heyman is over Heenan?
He and I talked about it for a minute. We did. But it wasn't a tough sell for me at this point. Okay. First of all, Paul's not the greatest manager of all time.
God damn it, Dre.
You wrong for that, Dre. I love Chewy, but Jesus Christ, knock that shit off. Paul is the greatest person to serve in that role. Manager, advocate, agent, spokesman, wise man, special counsel, whatever the hell name you want to call him. And in the chat room, I realized people laid out the blueprint. Paul E. took the designs and manufactured the greatest property of this type in wrestling. I will stand and die on that hill. I never saw Gary Hart, for the record. Never once did I see Gary Hart perform in real time. And if we talk about top of the show, Albano, Blassie, and the Grand Wizard. Without those three guys, this guy's not on this list. That's not debatable. Okay? Neither one of us saw those guys.
In real time.
In real time. You watch back on tape, evil sons of bitches, and influenced teenage photographer Paul Heyman. But when I came in fandom, this guy was managing Mean Mark Helms. When I came into the fandom, and a year or so later, he brought Rick Rude to WCW and joined up with Medusa and formed the Dangerous Alliance, which had Anderson, Zbyszko, Eaton, stunning Steve Austin. From there, he found, joined up with Todd Gordon and, became the creative at ECW, managed Sabu. People, spend a legend of Sabu. It's Paul Heyman's responsibility. Booking people like Rob Van Dam, like Tommy Dreamer, like managing 911, who didn't get over more in ECW than ECW, but he was still there. He was still a force. Cultivating creatively all these minds. What goes to WWF after ECW just does not do what it should have been able to do. And yes, creative genius behind the scenes, no doubt about it. But as a on-screen personality, he managed Brock Lesnar, The Big Show, and Kurt Angle, 3 consecutive WWE World Heavyweight Champions. And then, Heyman, Lesnar drops him on his ass, rightfully so, after, he turned on Lesnar. And, is no longer an on-screen manager. Okay, you're now the SmackDown general manager because Vince, the old man, recognized we need Paul Heyman on screen. And it's like, okay, well, that ran its course, and character-wise, he wasn't going to work for Eric Bischoff. Okay, so manage the Dudleys. Be the reason Undertaker kills Paul Bearer on the air. That's some influence right there. If you can convince a guy to kill a guy, just throw him out. That's some shit.
We're done having you on the air. We're going to send you down to OVW.
Okay.
CM Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say what you will about Phil.
Nowadays, yeah, exactly.
But Paul Heyman took the kid from Ring of Honor and turned him into the character we know today.
Yes. Paul Heyman took a guy who arguably was almost already the complete package in wrestling and molded him into a guy that is arguably the best in the world at the time he was saying that he was. And then, and again, creatively.
Taught him so much that he taught him how to time out a wrestling show.
Yep.
Something that as Punk said, I think it was on his own DVD, that dare he state that no other in-ring performer knows how to do.
No.
Because he was educated by this man.
Yep.
How to time out a wrestling show.
Yep.
Something that Phil was trying to use for a little show called Collision until some young fucks and their buddies decided that they, wanted to keep poking the bear. And when the bear lashed out at him, we don't like you. We want you gone.
Let's not undersell Jack Perry's responsibility for Punk's departure either. Yeah, right. Just saying. I have no problem picking on the Young Bucks, but let's make sure we get Jack Perry into that bus too.
And to Josh's real question.
Well, I was going to get there with. Yeah.
I was going to say it's Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
Because Heyman did things with Brock that nobody thought could be done with Brock.
Yep.
And Heyman is the reason that Roman got over.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. That's the sentence.
Post-Shield. In the Shield, he was over on his own because the Shield was over.
Yeah.
Once Seth freaking Rollins shot that chair shot and broke them up, Roman was floundering.
Yep.
He was a ship with a hole in it.
Yep.
Paul was the spackle to fill that hole, right the rudder, and get it going the way it needed to go.
Yeah. Heyman didn't have to come back in 2012. I think Lesnar was going to be fine. But when you look back, it's like, no. Brock needed Paul. Up until very recently, when Cowboy Brock emerged and he was able to cut his own promo, and that was how many years after since he's been back? Just saying. But Paul's legacy as a manager / advocate / whatever title you want to lay on him is 2014. Period. Yes, the Dangerous Alliance was amazing. Yes, he was a tremendous manager in the AWA and WCW, and a awesome agent / advocate prior to the formation of WWE ECW and his departure from the company. But when he came back in 1 year, hell, in 4 months, his client broke the streak. His client destroyed John Cena in minutes. I was there. I watched that unfold in front of me. And however you want to define kayfabe versus reality, if you talk about just the story part of it, it was Paul Heyman's strategy that had me reduced to tears and had to have me dragged out of a building.
Yep.
Legitimately. Paul Heyman is responsible for the end of the Undertaker streak of WrestleMania and the end of this aura of John Cena being Superman.
Yep. And to Dre's point, about you could say Heyman was floundering without Roman. No, because Heyman could have got on his white horse and ridden off into the sunset after that Brock Lesnar shit.
Yep.
That real cowboy shit.
Yes.
And been perfectly fine. Heyman didn't need Roman. Roman needed Heyman. Heyman's legacy was set before he became the wise man to the tribal chief.
Yep.
Roman's legacy was Jack Diddley shit, was the son of Sika until he got the wise man.
Yeah. Roman was going to be a decent little story in the history of wrestling 3.5 years ago. Now Roman is the story of this generation because of this guy. That's why he ranks above Bobby on this list. Personal feelings, both he and I met Bobby. We love Bobby. I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to give him one of our Extreme Award plaques.
And personally, only one of us ever attended an official ECW show.
There you go. Paul's multiple fronts of enduring legacy is what gets him 1A.
Yeah. I mean, just between the names we said for WWE, Brock, Show, Angle, Roman. Okay. Then you add Taker as Mean Mark Callis, Stunning Steve. Then you add Rick Rude. Then you add all his ECW people who he cultivated, the franchise Shane Douglas, being made the franchise, Raven, Tommy, Sandman, the Dudleys.
Yep. However long the legacy was, Mike Awesome and Rob, of course. Yeah. Paul, take him out of this list alone. It's like, okay, well, let's talk about top 10 creative minds of all time. Okay, let's just put him right back where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take him out of here. Talk about greatest bookers. Paul right here. If we try to expound on all of Paul's greatness, I'm gonna be late to work today. As it is, I've got about an hour to go. Yeah. Luckily, we got to number one when we did. And yeah, aside from the manager stuff, which is what this list is about, without Steve Austin and Mick Foley stopping over in ECW on their way to the WWF, which was the ultimate thing because they were both signed at that point, they were in ECW. Do we get Stone Cold or Mankind? I don't think so. So there you go. Paul Heyman is so responsible for so many people that sit on Mount Rushmore. It's like they should carve out an extra head on Mount Rushmore just for Paul.
Right? I don't know if Bam Bam Bigelow would be as revered as he is without
son of a bitch, right?
Paul Heyman in ECW.
Yeah.
Because he main evented WrestleMania, but that match was shit.
No. I'll go you one better with Bam Bam alone. Paul was the booker at Studio the night Bam Bam debuted in wrestling. Studio 54, they had this big thing for Flair to get, man of the year, whatever it was, Studio 54. That was Bam Bam's first night in the business. So Bam Bam being revered is because Paul brought him into the business. But yeah, they're coming from WrestleMania was definitely Paul. I definitely can see that because Bam Bam prior to 96, it was like, oy, what could have been? And you look back, it's like, man, him being allowed to be the beast from the East again for that brief period probably saved his legacy, for being honest.
Yeah.
Because WCW Bam Bam kind of was what it was in 98, 99.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there can never be, for me, enough discussion about the greatness of Paul Heyman. And I don't care how much that sounds like butt sucking. I don't care. I don't. If I ever, the next money I can spend, how the hell I want to spend it, I am a Paul Heyman guy. One of the very first Jeff Meacham shirt there ever was in the history of ever. I'm a Jeff Meacham guy. Because they had the Heyman guy shirts first.
Yeah.
So let's talk about his influence on me alone. My fuck. Anyway, we are going off into the weeds, and I don't have enough weed to counteract the freaking stress. So
no, you're good. You're good. Can I send you an image and you load it in real quick while we're waxing proxy on Heyman?
Sure.
Okay.
You can do that.
1 second here.
No worries. I was gonna go on the chills because we are running short, but we're good.
I understand, but I just want to illustrate this point right here, real quick.
This year, right here,
to Heyman.
Oh goodness gracious, that was a energy drink backlash. That was not happy. That hurt. And yes, gee, I did get your pictures of you with him with Sonny, him with Tammy, him with Jimmy. It just we had pictures of ourselves with these people lined up. It just ran out of time and ability to have technology work for me.
Let me ask you, would it be easier for me to send it to you or to share screen it?
Share screen it, honestly. Yeah.
That's what I thought, knowing the technical debacles you're having here today. So,
oh, it's a rough day, kids. I'll tell you what. Is it said I'm going to be in a hotel tonight in case I have to do some work between shifts? Thank you, by the way, to the hotel in Anaheim. I'll give you guys a plug when I'm down there tonight. I don't remember the name of it right now, but thank you.
Yes. So
very much appreciated.
Here it comes. Share screen. Okay.
There we go.
Everybody knows that WrestleMania next year is in Philadelphia, which means Hall of Fame is in Philadelphia.
Yeah, there you go.
Every single one of these people is a viable Hall of Fame candidate thanks to their time in ECW alone.
Yep.
That is the legacy of Paul Heyman.
Exactly. Yep. And don't you dare add us about people like Sandman and BWO, because they deserve it too. Good Christ.
Absolutely. And just to make it funny, I want to have either Kevin Nash or JBL induct the BWO. Could you imagine JBL having to do it after the shit he did to Meanie at that one night stand?
Wow, that would be something.
No, Taz isn't in the Hall of Fame yet because he was in Impact and now AEW.
Yeah. None of these guys on this image are yet inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. Oh no, Bam Bam might be Legacy. I don't remember, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he's gone in yet. And he deserves more than Legacy. That's some bullshit. That's like Luna Vachon in Legacy, but we won't go down that road.
No, we'll be here all fucking day.
Forget about their individual beefs per se with Vince, Paul, or whoever else is in charge of the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah.
The franchise Shane Douglas, Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, Taz, Sandman. Any one of them can be a fucking headliner for the WWE Hall of Fame.
Especially in Philly, yes.
Bigelow, the BWO, the Queen of Extreme, Francine, Joey Styles, and of course the evil genius, the evil mastermind, who will more than likely go in this year. And if they don't put Heyman in Philly, there will be riots. Heed my words.
Oh, yeah.
You do not do Mania and a Hall of Fame in Philadelphia and not induct Paul Heyman. And I don't want to hear shit about people talking about Batista needs to go in, Bray Wyatt needs to go in. No, he doesn't need to go in just because he died this year. No. It needs to be an ECW class. And I'm sorry if that makes me sound like an asshole and heartless, but it needs to be an ECW class. Bray Wyatt can go in any other time. He doesn't need to be fast laned to the Hall of Fame just because he died. They waited a whole year after Shad died before he got his induction.
Yes.
They need to at least do the same thing with Bray Wyatt. Because I'll be damned if Shad didn't deserve that Warrior Award over Titus O'Neil that year. Fight me.
I'm going to fight you. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Fastlane.
So that is Paul Heyman's legacy right there.
Yes.
That every single one of those people is a bona fide Hall of Famer just on the strength of what Paul did with them in Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
You should be scared of Mansfield.
Dude, this is me. This is he and I having talked each other down before we hit live, okay?
Especially after. I'm just saying.
Yeah, pretty much. All right.
But yes, I did mention Fastlane.
You did. Funny enough, tonight, as a matter of fact.
Yes, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock to your East Coasters.
Yes.
Simply predicting Noah, myself, and I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be on the panel. It may just be a two-man show like it was when we did Wrestle Dream.
Yeah, that's all right.
I know Chris Rotz isn't able to appear. He's
Yes.
got some other plans.
Yes.
He's been trying to get in touch with me. I told him get in touch with you. He wants to come on to the pre-show to give his predictions. I told him that's a Jeff question.
Well, with Jeff not being
I know
there,
you won't be there, but it's still your network. You're the man whose name's on the marquee.
Got it. I will. If he messages me, I will reply. We'll do that.
But yes, so right now it's just me and Noah for Simply Predicting. I'm looking forward to discussing this because at the end of the day, some people in the No DQ galaxy think that this looks like a house show and not a pay-per-view.
Yeah, no.
Again, those people are founding members of the Jobber Squad, but I digress. And then tomorrow will be our coverage of Fastlane.
Yes.
4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern.
Yes.
Immediately followed by Open Mic Night.
Yes.
Which is going to be an interesting one because as of right now, I don't have a whole lot to talk about aside from the Tuesday Night War that will be executed next Tuesday, which will be a watch along across the multiverse of media.
God help us.
As we cover AEW Title Tuesday Dynamite and a regular old NXT episode.
Yes.
Personally, AEW just needs to be called Dynamite because they've already announced 2 matches that aren't even for titles. So calling it Title Tuesday is a little bit ridiculous.
Yes.
Personally speaking, I get you want to hype Edge, and if Edge's match was the only match that wasn't going to be for a title, I wouldn't give as much crap.
There you go.
But they've at least got 2 matches right now that don't have title on the line, not even title implications.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but the show's called Title Tuesday.
Yes.
That would be like having a show called Night of Champions, but having matches that aren't for championships. Vince?
Right. Yeah. And just when you thought you were safe from Fastlane after Saturday, nay. No.
That's right, because we will be doing a simple take on Friday the 13th.
Again,
9 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, where Noah and I will go back and we will discuss everything that happened at Fastlane and give our final thoughts as we digest and move on to the next little bit of shenanigans. But that's not the only simple take we have to promote for
nay.
As Sunday,
this Sunday,
Noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Noah and I will be discussing Wrestle Dream.
Oh, yes.
And I love that image.
Yes.
I use that on purpose. Hello, Matt. Saw you in the chat room. How are you? We're good.
We're almost done.
But yes, we're going to do our simple take on Wrestle Dream.
Yes. And then we go into happy hour on Tuesday because it's damn NXT and AEW double booking us.
Right.
Assholes.
So Stat Boy Sports Bar on Tuesday.
Yes.
Going to be a happy hour edition.
Oh, Lord.
11 o'clock a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Lordy. Yes. And because I am a glutton.
Stat Boy and Dory Lou with their regular shenanigans. Make sure you tip your barkeeps if you enjoy the content that they bring to you, because it's a lot of hard work putting all those stats together.
It is, man.
And I feel maybe it's just me. I definitely went about this kind of aggressively in some of the chats yesterday. And to the people who didn't do wrong, I apologize. But to those people who deserved my rage yesterday, I'm not sorry.
You've been told.
But Stat Boy does a lot of hard work.
He does.
And as a man who's been his brother for going on 30 years, he doesn't get the love he deserves.
No, he doesn't. That's fair.
It is a very thankless job doing what he does.
Yep. It is.
So if we could start seeing some of the supporters of Stat Boy Sports Bar super chatting, leaving some tips in the bar for the bar keeps.
Right.
Goes a long way to show them that their hard work is noticed and is worthy of their time.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, why do they put their heart and soul into it?
That's it. Exactly. Exactly. And there are probably 3 jobs that I know about that are usually the most thankless. I heard Pritchard talk about this recently, or I heard it recently. It was an old show. Talent relations, talent management, which is just thankless and ungodly, just wearing on the soul. Luckily, I don't have a soul, so I'm good on that.
Damn ginger.
Statistics, which is just a tedious bitch. And then merchandise sales and arranging, which normally is a bitch.
Merchandising.
It's where the real
money from the movie is made.
Right now, generally that's a thankless job. But the reason I won't be part of a Simple Take Friday the 13th is because I'm going to be just a bit busy. It's Thursday. I will be, in fact, in Las Vegas. And we'll be doing talk wrestling from some point that has a cool background. It's like, take your pick in Vegas.
I was going to say, dude, you've got to, I know the strip is busy as Fiznuck.
Yes.
But you've got to find somewhere, some way.
Yeah.
Even with the selfie stick.
Yes.
You can set up and have some kind of backdrop.
Trust me. The place I'm staying, the friends I'm staying with in Vegas are still in Las Vegas proper. So it won't be a challenge. It'll be a little bit of a task to try to get set up. But once I'm on, it's on, brother. And the reason I will be in Vegas is because on Friday the 13th, the kiddies are on the prowl, kids. We'll be at Count's Vamped that night to celebrate Jenna's birthday, because anytime we can celebrate Jenna is awesome, especially when her day of existence. Yes. So we'll be the kiddies will be on the prowl. Special guests will be with us up there. The Bones will be up there with us doing our thing. Friday the 13th. Doors 8 o'clock. $10 at the door, except if you're cool like me. I'm worried about
So I want to make sure I understand this.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Meacham.
Yes, sir.
Is going to be in Sin City.
Yes, sir.
At a bar/club.
Yes, sir.
Possibly boozed up, knowing Meacham.
Possibly.
With 5 gorgeous women.
In Las Vegas.
I said Sin City, yes.
On Friday the 13th, no less. In October.
The question is, place your bets in the chat room. Will Jeff get lucky?
If I can make it to the Flamingo lobby and recreate history, yes. Was that out of line? I'm sorry. No.
So Mansfield, you sometimes post on your socials, how can I pray for you today? Pray that this man gets laid in Vegas on Friday the 13th.
Oh.
That's what I would like for you to pray for every time you go to the altar. And then you'll have to turn around and go to confessional and pray for the fact that you just prayed for a man to get laid. Okay. So there may be a conflict of interest. Josh doesn't love you enough because he says, nah.
Okay. So here's where the conflict of interest comes in with Joshua. We're asking this man to go to a place of worship that he works at and pray for this man to get laid. There's a little bit of a conflict there. In Sin City, no less. On Friday the 13th.
Hey, he posts on his social how he can pray for you. That is how you can pray for this man, Meach.
That's right. That's right.
Is how you can do it, Mansfield.
That's right. Josh, I'll tell you what. Don't outright pray for it. Just pray that you don't have to hear the in your background when it happens.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, God damn it. You know, I'm going to end up there involved in the participation of a ceremony, but I got to go by there. It's a place of history, by God. I've got all of Thursday almost to just fuck around. Because I'm landing like at 2:00 in the afternoon Thursday before Talk Wrestling. So yeah, I'll get to Talk Wrestling in front of the chapel. There's the booking. There it is. Boom. That shit just thank you. Who was that? Matthew. Thank you for that booking. You just booked my shit. Triple H and Stephanie's wedding ceremony place. That was see, ding, light bulb. All right, we need to get off the air. I need to get the hell out the door. I'm like late for work and shit. Thank you all for watching this. Again, I want to throw out a real quick plug for our buddy, friend of the channel, Christina Klebb, and her independent film debut that is coming soon. You can help fund it over on Indiegogo. So check that out at the link at the bottom. I'll leave it up for just a second so y'all can register it and screen cap it, and then there it goes.
And let me just also address while we're doing the plugs. Due to the rant and diatribe that I went off on earlier, I don't know when my next review is going to get up.
Of course.
Because my filming studio is the bedroom that my girlfriend's going to be confined to now that she's ill.
Yes.
So on the one hand, I have plenty of time to watch movies and get ahead of the game.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not going to be able to film anything in there until she's better enough to where she can go to work.
Yes, exactly.
So be expecting a lot of double features in the very near future to try to get things caught back up.
Yes.
But I'm letting it be known here now, and then I'll make the announcement again on Simply Predicting and the rest of the shows this weekend. But unfortunately, due to those circumstances, my reviews are going to have to be put on hold until she can get back to work and I can go back into that room. I apologize to my fans who tune in on a regular, looking forward to the content, especially with Stephen King, because I was getting some good numbers on those movies.
Right. But
it is what it is. I've got to let her recuperate and get better. So
fuck Josh Mansfield. We'll say goodnight now. There's that. Hey, you know what? I'm not going up there to get laid, but it'd be a wonderful bonus.
You know what? I bet that Jeff Meacham will get laid before Josh Mansfield writes an article for No DQ that is simply based on trolling a fan base.
Ooh.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you tonight for Simply Predicting and all the things this weekend. And yes, be sure to check out the Casa because there will be updates. So check it out. Oh, okay. We're good now. On behalf of JJ, I am Jeff. We are the Dads. If you enjoyed this show, check us out on Costume Studios. If you haven't enjoyed the show, we are Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. Good night, everybody.
And Sean Ross Sapp.
Oh, shit. We're good. You're goddamn right we would have.